Hey, sorry for the scuff video. I'm away. Obviously, all this stuff happens when I'm away. There's a bit of big news. Well, there's a lot of big news. Sorry, I'm not very good at holding the phone camera. You'll have to forgive me for that. A judge has issued an order pausing the deployment of the National Guard to California, or to Los Angeles. Sorry, I jumped ahead on this one. The National Guard is usually controlled by governors, by state governors, right? Each state has their own National Guard. The president can take the National Guard if he wants to do something wacky with it. You know, I say he because Hillary lost and Kamala lost. I say he when I refer to the president broadly. Also, Trump say he. Don't get mad. Don't get triggered. Essentially, it is very, very, very uncommon for a president to requisition the National Guard without the approval of the state's governor. Last time that happened was in the 60s. It was civil rights business. You can look it up. It's interesting. Gavin Newsom, of course, has been very open in his disdain for the president and his use of the National Guard. Of course, the use of the National Guard in this case is objectively absurd. The deployment of thousands of troops to Los Angeles when, for one, you take a look at the live streams going on down there, the police have it handled, okay? It's the LAPD. They're a small army. They have it handled. Tiny little protests, tiny little protests. You have a few hundred people out in the street. The president screams, we need thousands of soldiers down there? No, of course not. It's all political theater. Kristi Noem said it best today in the same press conference where, you know, she saw her guards tackle and detain a California senator. She said it right there, that the National Guard are there to liberate Californians from their governor, from their governance. So the idea that this has anything to do with like protecting, I mean, if you watch me, you already understand this. You know how bad faith they are, but they're admitting it here. Anyway, a judge, Newsom filed a lawsuit. Newsom said, you know, this is a ridiculous use of the National Guard. The excuse provided by Trump to deploy them nationally doesn't work. It doesn't jive. And incredibly, I guess, because, you know, nothing ever happens types or whatever, a judge has agreed and has said that he's issuing a pause, which takes effect noon Friday. That's tomorrow, for people who don't know how the week works. Issued a pause saying once this pause takes effect, the National Guard are meant to be returned to the control of Governor Newsom, which is pretty significant, you know? The reason the judge has done this, apparently, is because he believes that the sort of emergency ruling that is going to be had on this, when it begins on the 20th, when the you know, the fact finding like properly begins, the judge thinks there's a very reasonable assumption to be made that it will be found that the president has violated the 10th Amendment. So it exceeded the limitations of the emergency statute for taking control of the National Guard. This is actually a huge deal because normally the Trump administration just ignores these court rulings, right? Normally they just blow them off. You know, what are the consequences? There's no harm. This time though, I mean, this is pretty big. I mean, they're fighting over command of troops. You know, this is the kind of stuff you read about in history books. If the Trump administration doesn't relinquish control in compliance with the judge's order, I mean, we've been through a million constitutional crises, right? But clearly there are lines yet to be crossed. But how can Trump relinquish control, right? How can an authoritarian, how can a strongman, how can a fascist, you know, launch this assault on our democracy? It's not just for California. The memo that Trump signed, by the way, is meant to go into effect. It has gone into effect for all states. Already Republican governors are bringing in their National Guards. In Texas, in Missouri, they've brought out the Guard before protests even happened, you know? They are using this as a pretext to instigate martial law. This is, for them, the beginning of the plan. If they let a judge stop this with an injunction, the thing that they so publicly despise, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. What a great time to be on vacation, right? Well, good luck to you folks. You know, you're following it live, all right? I'm going to go have some food. Take care.